What's going on, guys? Here's Coach. Just gonna give a few comments here on game film. We got here McKinney High School versus Shawnee Lacrosse on the opening draw. Chris does fantastic. Wins that. We get a tough ground ball, and you'll see Chris pops out upfield, grits the ball. We're gonna slow it down here. The very first play, mind you, the game. Excellent opportunity. I'm yelling, push it here. You'll start to see McKinney defender come out on Chris, and basically we have our attack that are just they're not in the fast break offense there. You'll see I slowed it down. We are not in that L formation, and of course it just fizzles out. To get a shot on, Braden had a little sidearm on it, and we get the ball back here. We got Noah running around. I really enjoy his tenacity on the field. He's coming around on this dodge, but we had a little stick protection issue, little trail check from the defender, and there goes the ball. We somehow are able to come up with it based on a poor job that McKinney did, and we actually do get a shot on Chris. Just a little bit of a tough angle, hits off the post and runs out of bounds. See here after the ball going out of bounds, we're going to be running this ball behind, and just a little bit of organizational issues. You'll notice here, it doesn't look like we've got our midfielder on the crease properly. So actually, we look like we've got our three midfielders up at the top, an offense similar to what we played with last year. And on this clearing opportunity here, we pressure the goalie here, which I understand. I mean, we want to pressure goalie and not let him bring it upfield quite as easy. But some of these teams that are more skilled, they're just going to make a couple passes and bang their upfield. And we definitely would have wanted to have played a high ride with our attack coming back and our midfield, right up around the midfield line. One of the things here we're going to notice is, Dakota coming out there at the goal, and that situation is very dangerous for one. I know Dakota, he tries his best, but at times, when you're going into traffic like that as a goalie, obviously you're going to experience some difficult times, and you're not always going to get away with stuff. So we took a penalty here. I'm not sure if it was Kenneth on that last play. Obviously, it's a little difficult to tell exactly who it was, but we are clearly on a man-down situation going box and one. And, for the most part, we do a fine job. I really feel like, one of the aspects that we need to improve ourselves better in is just putting a little bit more pressure on their gloves. And clearly it's difficult. We're trying to maintain ourselves. But as you see in this, part of the way that you beat a man down is by making a skip pass. And for those that don't know, a skip pass is a diagonal pass, usually from the top down to one of the players on the wing here. And in this case, looks like McKinney's going 3-3 in a Larry Bird man down, and that's what ends up happening is they find a player here with the skip pass, and they get a few opportunities to get a shot on goal. They're working the ball around here, and they're actually playing fairly high, but you'll realize here that they just make one skip pass and it's a goal. A little bit ball watching. Our defenders down low didn't do a good enough job of understanding and communicating, so that might be one of the areas that I would recommend us, really look at is especially in the man down. We've got to be more vocal, and we have to really understand our responsibilities and making sure that those skip passes, we've got our sticks in the lanes, sticks up, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I keep telling you guys about getting the sticks up. So hey, this is part of a learning experience, and I know that we had a couple defenders from McKinney helping us out on that man down since we only had 10 guys this day. So really, I don't blame any of you guys. I think, if anything, it was just a little bit of uncertainty with knowing those players and kind of knowing our system. And so, again, you'll see here is a scrum for the ball. And looks like, we've done a pretty good job to come up with that GB, moving it down into our offensive end. Kind of a little bit of a sloppy there, going in one-handed to some of these ground balls, Chris, and kind of getting a little lucky that it went out of bounds. And really, the referee made a bad call there. It's actually, we were playing to the further line, And so, in theory, that should have been McKinney coming back the other way on a fast break. But, anyways, hey, we had a good call there from that ref. We're coming here back in with Chris on the ball. It looks like. Um, and again, we've got our midfield kind of bunched up there. We're supposed to have a midfielder on the crease. Right now, we're in a circle offense, which is fine if that's what we're running, but unfortunately we're not. So we look like we got someone running down there into the crease, but again, a little bit of discipline issues with causing it getting a turnover, and again the ball's coming back up the field. Again, we're looking at some passes that have come through the slot zone, right in front of the cage, and we really haven't. We dodged one there since they weren't able to make that pass, and of course we're coming back the other way on somewhat of a fast break. But again, our attack is a little bit asleep, and we're getting kind of bunched up there going up after this ground ball. And McKinney's coming back the other way with this GB. And here it was a good pressure there. One of the attack might have been Grant. Some good pressure on him to force that turnover, and it looks like a whistle here for a loose ball push. And actually, that's Bradley losing a shoe there, running off the field, and that's playing without equipment. So that's a turnover on us. Just a quick note here, we were running that 3-3 zone defense with, obviously being responsible for our zones. And for the most part, we've done a fairly fine job of it. You'll notice Chris's midfield defender is playing real low. Chris plays him low. He comes around. Now Chris stops here with Bradley, what it looks like, and Kenneth has to make that slide up, which is the right thing to do, but we lost track of our zones. The defender that was playing that wing with Chris was not understanding his responsibilities, and Chris is just kind of hanging out above everyone, and there's no. That's the reason why we're able to come up with this GB, and here Chris is going to come the other way with that as we have this slowed down. Now, obviously, we'll notice our attackman just clearly not understanding the correct fundamentals of a fast break. We need somebody to pop out in that L. Here comes the defender to stop Chris, and it just we don't have anybody there. There's no options for Chris, and unfortunately Grant, Braden, and could have been Noah down there. Just we needed someone to pop out there. So you'll notice here as the play continues, we've got Braden pulling the ball out, and ultimately with the turnover, and we need our attack to really be able to push the ball and help us create. And unfortunately, in the game, we just weren't able to get that going, especially with these fast breaks. Here, we're in a very hard ride, and we're trying to get that defender with the ball pushed out of bounds, and we do force him to kind of flick one back on field. And what you'll see happen here is we're going to come up and end up with this ball. We're going to move this ball once we have it back in play, and we're going to move it to M&M and Echo. But we make a flat-footed pass out to our wing, and again another flat-footed pass down low, and unfortunately there's no conviction in there, and there's a turnover, and that again was a very common theme to this game is these turnovers that were caused by us not moving the ball. And here on this fast break, you'll notice that Kenneth comes way too early, picks him up early, and our other midfield players are obviously coming from behind, and our defender there from McKinney that we had playing with us just did not make the proper slide. Kenneth made the stop. He stopped the ball. The other two defenders are pretty much left there stone cold, and they were just able to make one pass and bang as it was a goal. So again, I'm proud of Kenneth. I mean, he did the right thing. He picked him up a little bit early, picked him up right as he passed the 30. I would have maybe wanted to see him take a couple more steps in. But yeah, our other defenders that were helping us just did not make the right decision, and we're just standing there and let that goal pretty much happen. So that's just part of the way it went. And so here we go. I think this is Matt, could be Bradley on the ball, comes up with a huge GB, comes through a lot of traffic. Obviously McKinney's pressuring hard, and I would have liked to have seen a midfielder come down and help, but of course Maddie or Bradley, whoever that might have been, had some great athleticism and was able to move that ball. So we got Chris here in Florida here, trying to set up the offense and try and make a dodge to the inside. You see that early slide that comes, and Chris is forced to make a pass on his back foot and forced one inside, which of course is a turnover. We almost come up there with a ground ball. You'll see the goalie for McKinney come out, just scramble, but gets back in cage. But you'll notice here that ultimately it results in a turnover. Actually, a timeout there by McKinney. So yeah, that's pretty much the first part. Part 1. Check out and stay tuned for part 2.